What if I told you the only thing stopping you from becoming the next great Renaissance thinker is you? That you, yes, you, sitting there right now, have everything you need to be a polymath. Not next year, not when you're older, but starting today. Forget the myth that only geniuses can master more than one field. The truth is, anyone can learn to be a polymath if you know the right steps. Welcome to the Growth Mindset Project. If you're ready to unlock your potential across multiple fields and take your personal growth to the next level, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a strategy that could change your life. Let's break down what it truly means to be a polymath and how you can start right away. Think of the classic icons. A legendary Renaissance artist wasn't just an artist, he was a master in engineering, anatomy, and architecture. Or consider a modern professional who went from elite military service to becoming a doctor and later an astronaut. The stories are impressive, but there's a secret underneath that most people miss. You've probably heard the advice, read a lot, follow your curiosity, connect ideas from different fields. Sounds simple, right? But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't just connect knowledge automatically. That's not how expertise or the path to be polymath really works. If you want to be a polymath, you need a specific blueprint. Most dabblers never actually make the leap. They learn a little guitar, try some coding, watch a documentary or two, then get bored and move on. But anybody can go way beyond that. Let's start with the most common mistake. Believing that being a polymath means you just sample tons of things. People dip their toes into Spanish for 3 months, strum the guitar for a few weeks, play with graphic design a little, then bounce off to something else. This isn't the path to be polymath, it's the path to being a dabbler. And here's why that difference matters so much. Real polymaths have deep expertise in at least one area. Dabblers only ever skim the surface. When you develop real expertise, your brain starts to build complex patterns. You start to see solutions in an instant, like a chess master or an experienced programmer who can solve a tricky bug on site. This kind of knowledge can't be explained easily. It's a feeling, a sixth sense that only comes from true mastery. Ask any expert how they do what they do, and they'll often shrug and say they just get a feel for it. That's the key thing you need first if you want to be a polymath. When you go deep in one area, you actually learn the most important lesson. You learn how to learn. You learn what mastery feels like, what it means to push through tough plateaus, and you develop powerful intuition. This is transferable. It's your foundation. When that modern professional I mentioned earlier became an elite soldier, he didn't try to tackle medicine and space science at the same time. He mastered one, then moved to the next. By the time he started medical school, he cut his learning curve by 40%, because he already knew how to attack new, intimidating subjects and stick through the hard parts. You can do what every polymath does. Build real proficiency in something, then transfer your habits and strategies to conquer a new domain. So, how do you do this? The first step to be polymath is to go deep. Choose one field and keep going until you have true, hands-on expertise, where you know when something's correct or off, without needing to look it up. Yes, this feels slow. Yes, you might feel you're not being a polymath yet. But this is the foundation every true polymath stands on. Are you still with me? If this is helpful, drop a like and tell us in the comments, what field will you go deep in as your foundation? I'm curious which field will be your launchpad. Here's where things get really interesting if you want to be polymath. Once you have depth, you want to leverage that to connect knowledge across fields. But your brain won't do this on autopilot. You need to force the connection. Consider a major innovation study at a large manufacturing company known for creating thousands of ingenious products. Researchers analyzed the profiles of their top inventors, separating them into 3 types. First, the specialists. They were deep in a single technology, generating lots of patents, but only within that narrow silo. Second, the generalists. They touched lots of different fields but never went deep enough to build true expertise. The inventors who truly made breakthroughs, the ones whose work was not only innovative but commercially successful, were the polymaths. They had real depth in one main field, plus serious breadth across dozens of distinct areas. What set these polymaths apart? They weren't just collecting knowledge randomly. They made a habit of comparing ideas and patterns from completely unrelated fields and applying them in new contexts. Where others saw unsolvable challenges, polymaths saw analogies, frameworks, and solutions they could borrow and adapt. A modern example is a popular author and thinker on self-improvement and accelerated learning. Whether he's learning a new language, building a business, or mastering physical skills, he makes progress at hyperspeed, not through brute force, but by comparing and applying frameworks across fields. The model he uses for learning martial arts also works for picking up languages, writing books, or hiring teams. Every field strengthens the others, and every lesson applies more broadly. If you want to be polymath, start training yourself to do this. Every time you learn a new idea, force yourself to find 2 or 3 examples from unrelated domains that use that idea in a different way. Did you just learn about feedback loops in business? Find them in climate science, in personal relationships, or machine learning. Write out what's the same and what's different. This trains your brain to spot deep, transferable structures instead of trapping knowledge in isolated boxes. But there's an even more surprising way to catalyze deep learning and start to be polymath: learning by struggling first. It sounds upside down, but research proves that trying and failing at a new problem, even before you know the theory or the formulas, can double your retention. It's called productive failure. When you grapple with a problem and get stuck, your brain starts desperately searching for tools to fill that gap. And when you finally see the right strategy, you never forget it. Imagine wrestling with a tricky math puzzle or trying to construct a sentence in Spanish without knowing the grammar. Yes, you'll hit walls and make mistakes, but when someone finally shows you the solution, the lesson sticks for the long term, burning a deep groove in your brain. Studies with thousands of students prove it. Those who attempt hard questions before learning the method outperform their peers by up to 13 percentage points. And the effect lasts. You can magnify this by deliberately practicing desirable difficulties, small obstacles that make learning harder in the moment, but more enduring over time. 3 examples. First, interleaving. If you're learning music, don't grind scales for an hour straight. Mix in chords, rhythm, improvisation. Jump between skills instead of repeating one until it's automatic. Second, spacing. Instead of a cram session, spread your learning out over days or weeks. The brain works harder to retrieve knowledge, which cements it. And most importantly for aspiring polymaths, always try to answer a new question or solve a problem before learning how. Jump in, get it wrong, then learn why. The struggle creates the hooks later knowledge can grab onto. Quick reminder, if you're getting value, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment sharing which domains you'd like to master. You'll help more people find this content and join your journey to be polymath. The path to be polymath doesn't end with mastery of one subject. You now know, start with real depth, so you develop your learning muscles, that sense of expertise and pattern recognition. Next, build bridges. Connect ideas across wildly different fields using forced analogies and deliberate comparison. And third, always make learning active. Struggle before you study. Test yourself on unknowns, even if it feels awkward or pointless. Your brain will grab new knowledge harder, and it'll stick for the long run. All of this makes the journey to be polymath possible for everyone, including you. There's no magic, no secret society of geniuses, just a repeatable set of habits and strategies that anyone can use every single day. If you're fired up to build your own journey and curious what comes next, check out our other videos here. And don't forget to hit the bell so you catch every new tactic for mastery and growth. Stay curious and remember, you can be a polymath.